Welcome to the windup phase. This is phase one of the pitching motion. This phase is the simplest and easiest of all the phases. The purpose of the windup is simple. Start the pitching motion and get your body to the posting position in a natural and fluid motion. There are many different ways to start the windup and perform the windup. I'm going to demonstrate a few of them, and you're going to follow along with me. You may find one is more comfortable, one is more natural. You could create your own variation of the one that I show you. Whatever you choose, you just have to keep in mind that the purpose is get your body to the posting position in as natural and fluid a motion. First, I'm going to start with the simplest motion and the one I would recommend for anybody starting out. Start with your feet both on the rubber, facing the catcher in front of you. I'm going to have my hands comfortably in front of me. I look to the catcher for a signal. I receive the signal and I'm ready to start my motion. First, I'm going to do what's called the rocker step. It's just to take the non-throwing leg, so the leg opposite your throwing arm, and just a small step back off the rubber. I don't want to go too far back. If I go too far back, I shift my weight, and as I shift forward, it puts me a little bit off balance. So all you need to do is a gentle rocker step back. The second step of this phase is to turn my foot so that it's just in front of the rubber. I will then transfer my body weight forward and my leg up. So all I have to do is pick my knee up to approximately 60% of my body height, with your foot just approximately dangling just naturally underneath the leg. And that's as easy as the windup is. It's a simple starting of the motion, a rock step back, turn the foot, pick up your leg to this position. You want your hands about at your waist. Your back knee should be tall, not completely locked out, but just a little bent, a little athletic stance. And your torso is upright. Both your shoulders line up to make a line straight to the catcher, and your eyes are also targeted on the catcher. And that's it. That's as simple as the windup phase. Now, there are several variations on the windup phase. I'm sure you've seen some old school motions where they start with their arms together like this, and then they almost look like they're creating momentum by going back, taking their arms apart wide as they step back, essentially taking a step almost forward instead of just rotating the foot, and then coming forward again and bringing the hands together. This is not really necessary in any way. I'm not quite sure why they used to do it that way, but it's a very old school motion that you'll see from old school pitching films. There are some pitchers who actually choose not to start facing the catcher. Once you get past Little League, runners can steal second base. So when there's a runner on, the pitcher will go from the stretch. Now, we're not talking about the stretch position here today, but some pitchers feel that because all that really matters in this phase is getting to this posting position, that why not just start like this, keep it simple. You have your back foot resting against the rubber. Your body is facing either first base if you're a left-hander like me, third base if you're a right-hander, and just starting the position with your hands by your belt. And as you receive the sign and are ready to go, all you do is pick your foot up. Very simple. There really is not necessarily a need to do a wind-up. I always did, just because it felt more natural. It felt like I was starting a motion, which you are. It felt more fluid to me, moving into the next steps. Starting from the stretch, it just felt abbreviated. It's just a personal preference. There are many riffs on these motions also. Hideki Nomo, or Hideo Nomo, has one of the more famous wind-ups. He would start at the rubber facing the catcher, and then he would lift his arms way above his head and actually stop and almost kind of tap his foot fully extended like this before moving forward into his posting position. However, if you look, he actually gets to the same posting position that everybody else does. He just did something very funky for no real reason. Roger Clemens would also go above the head, but in a much more natural way. This is actually the pitching motion that I favored, the wind-up phase that I favored, is as he took his step back, instead of keeping your hands by your belt, he would just put them slightly over his head, and as he came forward, you bring it down. There are some coaches that argue against this, because at this point, your arms and your leg are headed in the opposite direction. And when they get here, which is your posting position, when everything is supposed to be set and ready to go, both your hands and your leg have just traveled in the opposite directions, and one of them, or both of them, kind of have to stop and reset before you're ready to go. So I would recommend just going ahead and doing the easiest, simplest thing, which is take a little step back, step forward, and get to the posting position.